Don in London. Hello, March 30th, 2013. I think it's day 89. Day 89 of 2013. My videos are all about recovery from addiction to either substances or behaviour. My addictive substance, alcohol. So I'm Don, an alcoholic. And the good news is I am in recovery one day at a time, and have been continuously for quite a number of years. And that's courtesy of the help of other people. So don't think for a moment I'm sounding off and I'm clever or anything. I'm not. I had to give up my thinking in order to start feeling life again. And emotionally I wasn't very good at life, which is probably why I liked to drink a lot. So it took the edge off, fixed my feelings so I could imagine happy ones rather than live sad ones. And then what happened? Well, the more we do something to overcome a deficit in our situation, the more we come to depend on it. And in my case, alcohol helps me do things which probably I wouldn't have done otherwise. In a sociable way, in a work-related way, in intimate relationships, to the good of the relationship at the time, I thought or felt. But essentially it took away me in the end, the alcohol, because in the end I couldn't do without it, and I was stuck in a 24/7 nightmare of addiction. Now, nobody starts off imagining that the thing which makes us feel convivial and joyful is ever going to cause us great harm, no matter what amount we drink, because we have a culture in my country where drinking was part of the festival of life on a daily basis. So work hard, drink hard, live hard, and try and make the best of what we have. Now, where I got to? Well, in the end, alcohol took everything away from me, and I had to be revived more than once. And I needed help to stay away from the drink. So a very reluctant student, but in the end, professionals got me dry, and they said, we're not available all the time. What you need is continuous support and help. And maybe the best way of doing that is go to Alcoholics Anonymous, a fellowship of men and women who just have one thing in mind: to be sober one day at a time. So, not being a very good joiner, I did look at it, or rather I was assisted. I'll share about that in a minute. But what I found was, here's a fellowship of people with a genuine desire not to drink anymore, but just do it one day at a time. So we don't make it limitless and impossible, we make it possible today. So I share about AA and how it helps me in my videos. I do not share on behalf of AA, because the fellowship of AA is full of unique and authentic people. They have one similarity, a desire not to drink. But each person, as you know, if you're in the fellowship and watching this, I cannot and do not want to speak for you, because you share your experience, strength and hope where you choose to, most likely within fellowship, family, and people you meet who you feel may have a problem, or they may tell you you've got a problem, or they just ask for help because they know you're in recovery. So I was asked and answered in these videos, what is AA about, which I'll share off this card in a moment, and then how it helps me on a daily basis, and some of my reflections for today. So on this card it tells me what AA is about. It's called the AA Preamble, shared at every meeting, and I share it here, whether we're new or around a bit. It's a good reminder of what it can and cannot do, and that ultimately you get your freedom of choice back, not to be in AA, but freedom of choice in how you wish to live your life, without one ingredient. Guess what that is? Yes, alcohol. Anyway, AA, what is it? Alcoholics Anonymous is a fellowship, not an organisation, and it has no identity as such which is expressed anywhere particularly. So it's a fellowship of men and women who share experience, strength and hope with each other, that they may solve their common problem and help others to recover from alcoholism. So that's it. We share experience, strength and hope where we can, together in meetings, which is very powerful because we get to hear everything. And it's better than any soap, and then we don't talk about it particularly outside of meetings. The only requirement for membership is a desire to stop drinking. There are no dues or fees for AA membership. We are self-supporting through our own contributions. In other words, it's a bit like the 2 fishes and 5 loaves, or 5 loaves and 2 fishes. We just got enough for today, and that's it. There is never have issues of money, because the fellowship doesn't have any. And although some people would like it to have lashings of money, actually as a fellowship it does not, and certainly not as meetings or groups. AA is not allied with any sect, denomination, politics, organisation or institution, does not wish to engage in any controversy, neither endorses nor opposes any causes. At the same time, every single person in the fellowship is allied with something. They may be allied with a sect, denomination, political organisation or institution, or just organisations and institutions. And people in the fellowship do engage in controversy, and they do endorse or oppose causes which are personal, individual choices. Hence my thing of freedom to choose whatever you want to do with your life. So you don't have to be anything or affiliate to anything. A desire to stop is all it is. So fellowship is not allied with out, with anything. Ought. Out is a Yorkshire thing, meaning nothing. But everybody in it is, in some way or form, affiliated to something, and that's your right. And you'll hear all about those things that people are affiliated to, and like for like, people attract, don't they? Anyway, our primary purpose is to stay sober and help other alcoholics to achieve sobriety. So within the fellowship it's all about sober, and although you will hear everything shared, your politics, your religious beliefs or none, because it's full of believers, agnostics, atheists and anybody else who cares to have a desire to stop drinking. So you get to hear life, and life in the raw. What's it like to deal with coming into a sober situation for yourself? It's highly stressful, and a period of extreme emotion, letting go something which is killing us, which used to be good and joyful, and our right to drink was made, whatever it was, by our inability to stop. We weren't powerful over it. It might have made us feel powerful, but in the end it got us. So AA, this is me, March 30th 2013, my feelings today. And step 3 is March for me, which is all about the higher power. So generally it's let go, ask for help and see what can happen. Learn the truth, love and wisdom of now is how I describe it, and that's just my personal outlook. Fellowship does not have a particular outlook on anything, and you're allowed to have all your outlooks. The thing is though, if you're full of prejudice about yourself or other people, life will be difficult. Anyway, contingent on the day I ask and remind myself 12 steps to improve my emotional and spiritual experience. So that's what it's about, my feelings in the moment of now. And in fellowship there are 12 traditions which hold us in unity, service and recovery, and that's in fellowship. So this is, my video is about how it works for me, not about how it works for you. You work that out as you go along, and that's important, because I don't want you to be like me. You can't be like me. I guarantee it. But what about me? Exclamation mark, question mark. One voice in recovery, one day at a time, is not enough. So although I might share about how it's working for me, my story is not enough, even for me. We all share together in fellowship, experience, strength and hope, and we hear our own story in the words shared by many sober people, and we can hope, have hope and relate and learn life as it can be today. So, you can't take 2 aspirin and then you're cured. And even if you were physically cured, if you like, of the malady of addiction, try it again and you'll be back in the same boat of needing more and more and more to get any sort of buzz or fix. Because life isn't for fixing, life is for living. And when we fix, we're only fixing life to the size of our own brain box. The rest of the world is ignoring us whilst we're in this altered state of fixing, because we don't really impact on them very much, but we think we are all powerful yet again. I was listening to a documentary about survivors of cancer. Once they have the all clear, they are discharged and given a set of recommendations. I don't know why this happened. It happened on the day when my mother, just recently, 48 hours ago, got the all clear. She was being treated for breast cancer. She's been discharged and said, take these pills for 5 years and we'll see you in a year's time for a further look, just to make sure you're okay. So she's very relieved. Now she has some tools available to her about what to do next. But generally, once they have the all clear, they are discharged and given a set of recommendations. And the overwhelming news from survivors is people don't understand what we've been through. They don't realise that being cured, or at least in remission, life has changed forever, and we don't know how to live it. But like all professionals in any field which saves lives, resources are limited, and discharge does not mean that people are equipped to deal with life after the life-saving intervention. So people aren't equipped to deal with the extremes of life-changing events. We're not, because we're not manufactured by nature to deal with extremes for prolonged periods. If we have extremes for prolonged periods, we tend to die off, because that's what nature does. Shuts us down. I have enormous gratitude that 2 people 80 odd years ago sat down together and worked out that survivors with like experiences might be able to develop a way to learn how to live life and keep safe in recovery one day at a time. So 2 people sat down and said, well, we're both alcoholics, we can go to the bar or we can chat about it, and they found something out. They had common ground and some common sense and gumption. What should we do next then? We won't go down the pub or the bar. Maybe we can help each other. Anyway, even if we have been physically cured of something, the emotional impact is profound. All types of feelings come out after a life-changing event. Extreme feelings which nobody really knows what to do with on a personal basis, because no one can be taught these things. We can know the theory, but until we are in the experience of post-traumatic shocks, seeing it from the outside is never the same as seeing it from the inside. Even when we know the theory, practice will always be difficult at the extremes of life events. And we can't live at the extremes of life events forever. It is remarkable that there is any type of fellowship, like Alcoholics Anonymous, because the survival rates into recovery have always been low and still remain so, because it is uncharted territory for the majority of humans living today. And in some countries it's illegal to be an alcoholic, and in some countries they'll lock you up if you're an alcoholic, and in some countries they'll put you in jail if you drink. So there's a profound prejudice against anybody getting through to recovery. Self-prejudice, because we don't want to believe we are one, and the prejudice of society, that we've survived, and ooh, he's still here. Anyway, I am powerless over alcohol, and if I take a drink, life will get unmanageable. I do believe that a power greater than me helps me be restored to sanity on a daily basis. And the power greater than me is the wisdom around. Made a decision to let go and ask for help, to keep on learning the truth, love and wisdom of now, which changes all the time. Remember my self-appraisal of assets and liabilities to help me be aware of shortcomings and defects, which can be triggered on any given day. And I need to accept the truth of who I am and be willing to share it. Be aware that my liabilities of fear, pride and ego can well up again if I'm agitated. Be aware that my assets of courage to change, faith in doing the next right thing, and confidence can develop by asking for help. So I can improve my situation by being in conscious contact with other people who have had the same experience as me and have stopped drinking, and sharing about it. Having made a list of amends over the years, which was interesting, I made one list and was willing to make the amends and add to the list those I had forgotten, because believe you me, my memory was a bit shot to pieces at the beginning and I didn't make a complete list, even though I thought I had. I'd forgotten stuff and people reminded me of what I'd done, and I did make amends. It's the contrition and the action of doing that. And sometimes it falls on deaf ears, or people who just hate us for what we did or what we stood for. Doesn't mean we were bad people, just they didn't like us anyway. So, we have to be careful with the feelings and do no more harm to people in these amends we do. Continue to make the amends appropriately and when possible. Now, that's all the first 9 steps. And then step 10, I can stop in any moment of now and look at my feelings and behaviour to improve outcomes today. Pausing for reflection, meditation and prayer will improve my conscious intentions to live to the truth, love and wisdom of now. And my spiritual awakening is continuous, contingent on my personal awareness of my intentions, and especially my actions, because what you see of me is my actions. My actions are what people see, and sharing a message freely given and freely received is all part of life, one day at a time. Yes, a desire to stop drinking, that's the only thing, that's the only requirement suggested to be part of the fellowship of AA, Alcoholics Anonymous. And as I often say, and in my videos and in writing, when I first got to AA, it was not under my own steam. It was a distraught family member who pushed me through the doors of a meeting many years ago, and even when I thought it was probably a good idea to go seek professional help for my problem with drink and admit it, that I'm an alcoholic, I still needed the approval of my family before I went. Over the years, family did not want me to be an alcoholic, and I did not want to be an alcoholic. It was entirely disagreeable to think that if they drank like I did, was I the only one in the family an alcoholic? Noise is off. Right, that's better. So, was I the only one? I don't know. Well, I do know. Everyone is always aware that there is a level of drinking which is seen as acceptable, and a rite of passage was the ability to drink yourself and still be standing when everybody else was falling. That's how it was for me. I just found out the other day that a distant family connection, a whole branch of my family, they all took the pledge many decades ago because there was something wrong with the way they drank. It's useful to know as a piece of history. It would have still had no impact on me and my rite of passage and subsequent and headlong jump into ignorance and alcoholism. Because when we're full of pride and ego, we're invincible, and when we're young, we are invincible. But tell that to all the people who die young from drink and drugs, or their families. It's the survivors around as well. And there is another fellowship called Al-Anon, which is for people who have suffered at the hands of alcoholics. They may not have been intentionally violent in any sort of physical way, but the mental torture of living around an alcoholic who cannot stop drinking is torture. Anyway, how am I feeling today? I feel okay just now and quite serene. It is early though, and the world is quiet in some parts, and in other parts at war with itself. This is true, the North Korean situation where they've been at war with South Korea for 60 years, but they haven't fired many shots at each other. But they're ramping up the rhetoric. And the problem is, it's like anything where it's been going on for a long time, and you've got new people in charge who have nuclear devices. I mean, alcohol is as good as nuclear when it comes to a personal problem. The madness of being at war with oneself is something any alcoholic in recovery knows, and so does the active alcoholic who's become aware that they are one. The addiction is so strong and our emotional situation so bleak that although we know the answer is to stop being at war with ourselves, we cannot stop fighting, and we cannot risk surrender without losing everything that we thought we were. Breaking the habits of a lifetime on the emotional level, the ones which suggest that we are powerful over everything, can keep us in everlasting ignorance of the answer. Today is not about power for me, and it's not about proving myself in some way to you. It is about knowing my emotional and spiritual condition, my ability to cope with what is going on today. That's it, my ability to cope with what is going on today. I can make progress in the company of fellowship, family and community by asking for help and sharing experience, strength and hope all day long, if I need to, and finding out more about how to love, how to be loved back, and find useful things which I enjoy and give me happiness, peace and serenity today. And one of the things I've been doing over the last 2 days is sorting out 5 years worth of photographs onto one hard drive so I can then sort them out. There's an awful lot of them. So whatever gives us peace, happiness and serenity today could be reading a book, sharing something, going out to a meeting, going to work. Going to work even if we don't like the work we're doing, knowing that, although I don't like this, I'm planning to make a move into something else, but I don't need to tell the people at work if it's going to undermine my job. I'm going to make a considered effort today to improve my chances of changing something. That's how it is. Of course, in any given day there will be good, bad and ugly bits, because that is life. And once we accept that life is full of good, bad and ugly bits, each bit is not a problem unless we make it so over and over again. Life is the journey and the destination is the same for everyone. Yes, we're all going to die. It's just the way we're going to do it. I mean, if I would prefer to do it soberly. I know when I first started in recovery, the idea that, well, near the end of my life, maybe I could just sneak a few. But why would I want to? Because you see, the problem is, reality is better than the alternative, because I can cope with it. And no amount of drink is going to beat the spiritual experience of living in the moment of now. I thought I needed alcohol to improve my conviviality and joyfulness. All I needed was some confidence to be me, and that it was okay to be a learner, and okay to be a learner of life now, at my great old age. And I still see the world with youthful eyes, but I know how old I am. And chasing after girls is not easy these days, because they're much faster than I am. And that's part of the fun of life, is growing up and being who you are. And then getting a bit more mature and looking back with, I suppose, rose-tinted spectacles to an extent, but not at the alcohol. If I had only heard the truth in the words that were said to me in intimate moments over the years, I was loved, but I didn't understand it. I was too busy trying to make the perfect situation for whoever it was. And then I was just, I don't know, driven mad by everything. That place of insanity where nothing works. But now everything can work, but I can return to sanity because, people, places and things will make me mad. That's under the bad and ugly bits of life. But it's also good because I can be restored if I just stop and take a step back and say, hang on a minute, I'm in a human situation with human beings who are not feeling very human right now. I can escalate it or pull back from it or help in some way or just remove myself because I'm not wanted. There are so many ways we can approach different parts of life, and we only find out in the moment of now, better with clarity, so we keep on learning the wisdom of life, so we don't get ourselves in crazy situations of unhappiness over and over again. So we can be restored any time of day. And the Serenity Prayer, which is shared at the end of every meeting, it's interesting because it's said quickly as if it doesn't matter, yet every single part of it is so important. It's about serenity or being restored to sanity, and like any prayer or a meditation, it's got an intention in it, and it says, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change. In other words, what I'm powerless over, which is you, places and things. Courage to change the things I can, me, my attitudes and behaviour, and where I'm standing, because sometimes I need to move out of the way of a steamroller coming my way, be it a person or an actual steamroller. I don't think they exist anymore except in museums, but it could be a big bus or something which will flatten me. So it's accept what I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and I keep on learning this wisdom as I go along. So it's an all-weathers, 4 seasons prayer to God or good conscience, to truth, love and wisdom, whatever you feel is the higher power, but it's connecting to your emotions and saying, can do, can't do, where's the wisdom in this? So I like it. Can do, can't do, wisdom to know the difference. Keeps me moving along, asking for help if I need it, and in the right place, in the moment of now. So to God or in good conscience as you come to believe for yourself, not my outlook, your outlook, because that's the one that's going to work for you. To God or in good conscience, God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Well, I hope there's a bit of it all day long.